Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us as we hold this press conference to discuss a new addition to our city organization, as well as provide an update on a couple of crime incidents that we had this morning. So again, welcome to everybody. So to my right is Avery Moore. Avery Moore is going to be joined the city of Topeka as the new assistant city manager over public safety. In this position, Avery will be overseeing and providing executive support to the Topeka Fire Department, municipal courts, emergency management, and Topeka Police Department. So this position is a position that was reclassified from vacant positions last year as part of our budget process. The position was actually it was previously advertised as a deputy city manager. However, with the recent promotion of Braxton Copley to deputy city manager, we actually reclassed this position to an assistant city manager. The position was posted last year between August 26th and October 3rd. So we probably had 40 applicants, if not more, that came through for that position. The challenge was that a lot of those applicants were general city managers. There wasn't a whole lot of public safety experience with the applicants that we saw. And so as we transitioned to, if you recall, we transitioned to hiring our police chief towards that time last year. So we really put a lot of emphasis into that hire and kind of put this position on the back burner. However, we still were vetting applicants as they came in for this position. Avery became available earlier this year, and I'll let Avery talk about that transition. But when he became available, I did get a referral for him from city manager of Austin, Texas. Let me know that Avery was going to be available, and so Avery and I started talking probably towards the beginning of the year about this opportunity, and again been just vetting his credentials, vetting his references, and got to a point where we're finally welcoming him today. So specifically, as mentioned, the departments that Avery will be providing oversight to, some of the things that I've asked Avery to work on with our new police chief include the violent crime reduction plan, and then also one of the FY 2025 strategic goals that we discussed with City Council in March, and then also strengthening our co-compliance teams. Definitely those are two areas that I'm going to heavily rely upon Avery to work on. So with that, I will turn it over to Avery.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay? First of all, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to come to this beautiful city, and thank you, Dr. Perez, for the opportunity. I couldn't be more excited, couldn't be more grateful. A little bit about myself, I'm a military kid, so kind of been everywhere with my parents. We settled in Lawton, Oklahoma at Fort Sill. I didn't know it, and Robert didn't know it, but we were rivals. He went to Eisenhower, and I went to Lawton High. Never knew each other, but nonetheless, small world.
Well, there's about 15 years between us, so like we
Well,
kind of
you
missed
didn't
each
have
other.
to say
So,
that part,
no, I'm sorry.
Robert.
Yeah, just anyways.
So I did graduate from college in Lawton, Oklahoma, Cameron University. I have 2 degrees from there, an associate's degree in psychology and a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. When I graduated, I went to Dallas to become a police officer in 1990. So my first 32 years was in Dallas. I rose to the ranks from a recruit officer all the way up to assistant chief in Dallas. I've worked in every facet of policing that you can have, from a street patrol officer, which I love the most. I love doing patrol work. I was over homicide, I was over SWAT, property crime. I really can't even thank them all. I've done a lot in my 35-year career. After about 32 years, I was interested in ending my career as the chief of police. I did apply in Dallas, didn't get that position, but I wasn't discouraged. I applied in Washington State, and an opportunity presented itself there. So for the last 3 years, I've been in Washington. My commitment there was to do 3 years, which I did do. They hired me basically for 3 what I call pillars. One was for crime reduction, a second was for community engagement, building trust, and third was organizational health. And I was successful at all 3 of those. So when I decided to resign, I still call it a retirement because I retired from Dallas. It was February 3rd. As Robert said, we talked about this position at the beginning of the year, which I had no idea this opportunity would present itself. Although Robert was in Dallas, we didn't know each other. I heard his name, he heard my name, but we never worked together. So when we got connected, we talked about this position. I thought it would be ideal for me, have a lot of experience, and I believe that I have a lot to offer. One of the things I love more than anything is to learn. So Robert and I were talking about priorities this morning. My main priority is to learn how we operate in the city, because you can't lead if you don't know anything. So I'm gonna listen, learn, and then lead. And I'm excited. I had the opportunity to read, I think it was Topeka Capital Journal a couple weeks ago, where they gave us pretty good scores. I think we were 4th in the state as best place to live, 141st in the nation, but public safety, we didn't do so well. So I'm already taking that personal. Want to make it to everybody that lives in this city, that works in this city, feel safe about crime and just overall safety. I want us to be the absolute best. I was speaking with someone last week, and I forget who it was, but I said, I want us to be the best. Somebody has to be, so why not us? So that's a little bit about me. Again, I'm excited to be here, and when we get to questionings, feel free to ask me anything you want to ask. Thank you.
I'm just going to add in there too, you were born at Fort Riley,
Yes,
right? And
Kansas.
spent some time growing up in Kansas City, Kansas as well.
Yes,
So while he did claim Oklahoma, he does have some roots to Kansas as well. So just want to make sure that everyone's aware of that as well.
yes.
So thank you, Avery. With that, I'm going to turn over to Assistant Chief Cross to talk about some of the incidents that we had this morning.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. We had a couple incidents this morning that prompted some media questions and some public inquiries regarding some public safety incidents. The first one of those I want to talk about is a bank robbery. We received a call about 9:10 a.m. this morning on a bank robbery over at Equity Bank at 3825 Southwest 29th. Proximity-wise, that's 29th and Gage, just to the east there a little bit. There were no injuries reported in that incident, and our officers from Topeka PD did respond, did gather some initial details, and then very shortly after, that investigation has been turned over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI is now leading that bank robbery investigation. And Dan Garrett from our communications team shared with me just before we began that they do expect that the FBI media team will put out some additional information on that soon. Additional from that, at approximately 8:45 this morning, a 911 call came in to Shawnee County Emergency Communications Dispatch of a disturbance near Southeast 27th and Southeast Minnesota. As officers arrived on scene, they did find a female victim deceased at that location. Since then, we began the homicide investigation. That is the city's 7th homicide of 2025. At this point in time, our detectives are actively working to gather information, develop suspects, and work through some things there. So we would like to send our condolences to the victim, the families, to others who are impacted by this case. And we do believe this is an isolated incident. I think that's important to share. We do not believe there's a widespread public safety concern at this time, but we do want everybody to be aware of their surroundings, remain vigilant, and report any suspicious activities that you may see. And we do want people in that area over near 27th and Minnesota to know that throughout the day and probably into the evening and night, there will be Topeka police officers on scene as we process that crime scene over there.
Was our victim of the homicide a woman or a man?
Our victim of the homicide is a woman.
Is the homicide and bank robbery, do we believe that suspect is connected?
At this time, we're investigating them as separate incidents, and that's why you see the FBI involved in the bank robbery at this time.
But the FBI is not involved in the homicide investigation because the two cases are not being investigated jointly?
That's correct.
Can you tell us the age of the woman?
At this time, we're going to keep some of those details, Tim, and primarily because we're waiting to make sure that family and extended family have an opportunity to be notified. As we continue to do more press briefings and more media opportunities with our major case incidents, that is one thing that we'll ask of the public and the media to understand, is that while sometimes immediate family is easy to notify, we also might like to hear from our family such a tragedy that's occurred in our family versus reading it in the media. So give us a little bit of time. We will release that information and when we see it's fit, okay?
Would it be accurate to say the homicide was found in the 2700 block of Minnesota?
Yes, it would.
And this is the second robbery at this bank.
That's correct. Actually, back in January of 2025, we had a robbery at that same location that was also investigated by the FBI. So,
And security with the bank, what does that look like? Do you plan on changing security around the building, keeping on watch now?
it's actually a great question. So one of the things we always offer to our commercial businesses and retail partners across the community when we have incidents such as armed robberies or other violent crimes that occur is the opportunity to reach out to us for some suggestions or some input on things that may or may not help to prevent future crimes. So that is something that's available. And those are things that folks can reach out to our community policing team anytime about, and we'll get somebody in touch with them. So,
Were there any security cameras or other security measures present at the bank when this incident occurred?
what I will share is across all of our community, things are caught on surveillance and on camera all the time, whether it be a residential Ring doorbell camera or a private security system or a commercial or retail business security system. So we do anticipate that we will find some things as we begin looking for them. So
Were there any customers besides employees in the bank when this was done?
I honestly do not have an answer to that, so I can't provide that answer. I'm sorry.
Do you have any questions related to Assistant City Manager?
Yes, you had mentioned that your main priority at the moment is just learning. Is there a specific topic or a specific area of Topeka that you're looking to learn about as your first primary?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. So one would be crime. You know, again, on that survey, we didn't score well. And if people don't feel safe where they live, where they work, then they won't visit. They won't come. They won't move in. So that's part of my responsibility to be aware of that. We want to make it safe for everybody. So that would be probably my number one priority, is really looking at our plan, making sure it's a good plan. Again, I have an extensive background in crime reduction plans that have been highly successful, and I look forward to working with the chief on that.
When it comes to your departure from Tacoma, what can you say to the people of Topeka, people living here, working here, that would encourage them to trust you in the decisions that you're going to make as Assistant City Manager?
Number one, you can't believe everything that you read. Number two, I've been in law enforcement for 35 years. I have an impeccable record. Not perfect. I've made mistakes. I've owned every mistake that I've ever made. And I'm proud of that. You know, I don't make excuses. I was brought there to be a change agent. And if you know anything about policing, the two don't really go together. Policing a lot of times don't like change. They don't like status quo. And when you're an outsider, that's magnified. So grateful for the opportunity. I will never say anything negative about Tacoma because I don't do that. I was successful in what I was hired to do, and that gives me great pleasure.
And if I could just add in there that as part of the process for me vetting Avery's references, I did have extensive discussions with the mayor of Tacoma. I also spoke again with the city manager of Austin, Texas. I also spoke with assistant city manager in San Marcos, Texas, who was one of Avery's previous colleagues. And so I've had some pretty extensive conversations, and again, he went through the same vetting process through our human resources as far as checking background credentials and so forth. So very, very confident in Avery joining the team.
You had mentioned that one of the main pillars at your previous job was focusing on environmental health. How do you plan on implementing the experiences that you've had in Tacoma to here?
Yes, ma'am, that was actually organizational health. And one of the things I think is important for me to remember, and I will, is that I'm not the chief of police. I told Robert I have no desire to be. That was a goal that I did attain. So really, I want to help the chief with things like that because he knows obviously more than I do since he's been here longer. And I don't want him to think I'm trying to be the chief because I have no desire to be. I will make recommendations to him, suggestions to him, and help him in ways that he needs help to accomplish his strategic goals for the department.
And I'd also like to point out too that it's just not going to be Topeka Police Department that he's working with. It's also going to be really bringing together Topeka Police with the fire department, with the courts, with the code compliance, with emergency management. It's really going to ensure that we have a consolidated approach to public safety using all the department's resources and again, collaborating with even the departments outside of that umbrella. So that's another reason that I am very excited that Avery's here. He'll have that opportunity to work closely with all those departments and ensure that we do have a consolidated public safety approach. And I'll also mention too, one of the things too that both Chief Vallejo as well as his leadership staff and Avery, they all have experience and a desire to make sure that they engage with the community. Avery talked about a lot of his ideas that are very similar with Chief Vallejo's ideas as far as getting our officers, getting our fighters out into the community, aside from just making calls. So very, very much looking forward to seeing what they do as far as getting out in the community. It's gonna be great and a new day for us.
Now, the city of Topeka has previously had a public safety coordinator role of sorts. That role was done away with and now has been kind of brought back.
Right.
What, if anything, is different about that previous position and this new one?
So it was an emergency management coordinator position, which we are also trying to hire. I would tell you we have a very, very good candidate that we've interviewed, and that candidate is working through some, I'll just say some medical issues to see if she can actually come in and join us. And so Avery would actually be overseeing that position as well. And so again, that's really, emergency management is not just, if we have a tornado or if we have a fire with mass shooting, it's also things like IT, and God forbid that we have some kind of IT issue. It's really just somebody to ensure that our training is in place, that folks have the equipment that's needed, and that we're able to coordinate across, not just with the city of Topeka, but also all of our emergency management stakeholders and partners. So that's the vision for that position, God willing, as it comes on board.
Avery, I see you have a history in Dallas as well as Tacoma. Both of those are very big cities. How do you plan to bring that experience there to a smaller municipality like Topeka?
So Dallas, you're correct, is big. Tacoma is not that big. Actually, I think there's more officers on the ground here than actually in Tacoma. So it was a transition to go from a big city that you literally have all these resources at your fingertips to a smaller city where you don't. So you have to really be more strategic, and I hate to say it that way, but you do, in how you utilize your resources. So that's one of the things that I will do here, just making sure we're utilizing our resources optimally.
Take one more question.
All those years that you were in law enforcement, were you fully staffed the entire time? The problems in Topeka is they're, always looking for officers, and they're doing all they can with the people that they have.
So when I was hired in Dallas in 1990, they were doing mass hiring. In my academy class, I think we were the smallest. We had 40, but they had 5 classes going. And the largest class there, when I was there, had 62 in it. So you're looking at probably 200 recruits that are coming out within 2 weeks. However, when I left Dallas, we were short about 600 officers. So that crisis is there still. In Tacoma, when I got there, we were 55 short. I got that number down to 18. I don't know how they're doing now, and it's just being creative in how you actually go out and market and where you're marketing, and just being transparent in what you're looking for.